Ah, yes. A logo that struck fear into the hearts of someone, probably. Mostly anybody who's ever played an adventure game who's just like, oh, God. What if I screw something up and I die and I don't know what it is, but it turns out to be something I did half an hour earlier? But no, this game is, it's one where I forgot to turn the desktop audio on. Whoops. Whoopsie! Uh, good going, me. Maybe I should restart that. You know what? Yes, I'm going to actually uh, skip it. We're going to go back to the main menu. Quit for now? Yeah, okay, hold up. I now have to restart ScumVM because I don't actually know how to just go back to ScumVM's menu. I want to get the whole sound in there. Whoops, 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 whoops. Don't. Whatever you do, don't. There we go. Overall, this game's sound and everything is very nostalgic for me because I had this when I was a child. And it was new back then. For anybody who might happen to think that I'm young or something, while I would still hesitate to call myself old when, well, there's many older people in the chat, obviously. And, you know, only being like 35, but still. That's sort of what I'm getting at, is that this game is over 30 years old, so am I. And I played this when it was fairly new. Interestingly. A redeem option for games. I've considered it. I'm a little bit wary of doing anything that is points based, specifically because obviously I've had that channel points thing for absolute effing years, and I haven't used them for much of anything. Anyway, before I dial up the difficulty here to expert level, because we are knowledgeable, first of all, I'm going to move my thing over to the other screen so that way I can face it all head on a little bit. And two, I'd like to begin today's stream by giving you all a little bitty writing tip. Now, this is related to some news that's been going on, so if anybody's like, this sounds familiar, if you are referring to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, do not, for the love of everything that is good and holy, abbreviate that under any circumstances. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I have to explain this to anyone, but so the news specifically is some shit to do with VShojo, which is one of the big VTuber companies. They did some very, very awful shit, including holding back a large amount of money that was supposed to go to Iron Mouse for a fundraiser, which, you know, there's a lot of like there's a lot of layers here. First of all, yes, I could tell you a VTuber company is not going to be good. Second of all, why would you steal from someone like that, especially when they're doing something for a charity? That's a good way to basically be seen as Satan himself. But just that very particular thing, I saw someone, like, the first time I saw anybody summarize it, they I guess just assumed that everybody watched the video where Iron Mouse said that she quit VShojo and abbreviated, again, the Immune Deficiency Foundation to IDF. Real bad idea. Really, really not clear. And definitely something that will make your blood freeze. Anyway, we're putting this on expert difficulty, and not necessarily because I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm a super baller or anything at adventure games. So, this one's a little bit different. This game, Castle of Dr. Brain, was sort of designed as like kind of an edutainment sort of title. Oh, the door gets better, by the way. I'll tell you that sooner rather than later. So, this was sort of sold with an educational angle, but it's very much modeled after a lot of the style of Sierra's other adventure games. You can tell it very much has the look. You got the interface. You can look at stuff like that. This looks like every other castle doorbell you've seen. Thank you. I've seen quite a few castle doorbells in my time, let me tell you, and they all looked exactly that pixelated. So, what this does is that. See, it's working, isn't it? Is that Castle of Dr. Brain is a game where a lot of the puzzle solving is much more like rooted in the sort of like basic intellectual skills, I suppose, like pattern recognition, a little bit of math. There's some rudimentary programming in there, as opposed to any of like the classical adventure game puzzles. So you are kind of free of any of the like weird moon logic type of stuff, as it's often called, which means why would I want to play it, right? This is sort of a blessing and a curse because on the one hand, it's like, hey, I don't have to figure out that in order to make peanut butter, I have to melt a thing of butter on a hot freezer and put peanuts in it or something stupid like that. Uh, I think that's the puzzle that I was thinking of from another game, but there's nothing quite that goofy. But on the other hand, there's stuff in here that's like a 16 slider puzzle. There's an actual just a magic square in there, which magic square is a type of puzzle that is a very much a stock puzzle. Like you can solve that. You can find solutions for that with zero trouble. Anyway, let's take a look at some other things here. We got some lamps here. Dr. Brain got these lamps at a yard sale. He figured they were just right for illuminating his prized flamingos. Ah, yes, and this reminds me of the flamingos that I saw at Menards yesterday. Dr. Brain's reputation for brilliance doesn't extend to his taste in lawn decor. I mean, they're just flamingos. That's all right. It is the grill. I guess every door has to have a grill, right? Every castle front door. Yeah, we're not getting in there. Not without a little bit of assistance. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Yeah, that thing is stuck. Can we hit this? Every once in a while, there's like a little dude's eyeball that looks out there. A little creepy, maybe. Vaguely. Castle in the Darkness. I feel like I should put a game suggestion box somewhere at bare minimum. I've never done a proper like Discord server because I've never really been like, oh yes, I would like to moderate this. But having a place to store like game suggestions and stuff that I've gotten from people would be quite helpful. So, I'm going to try to explain all of the difficulty levels of these puzzles as I go, at least as far as I remember them. If I beat this in less than 3 hours, which is quite possible, I will go through some of the lower difficulties and try to speed through it as much as possible. So, on like baby difficulty on novice, it's just this is a memory game, and you click only these 6 ones based on the patterns they show up. At sort of the middle tier, you get these lamps. And then on expert level, you also have the flamingos. And they make horrible noises. Let's see if we get to hear them at some point. Yes, we do. Excellent. I'm glad. Oh, the other one is better. Oh god, I've forgotten. I'm pretty sure that's what the noise flamingos make in real life, yeah? Oh god, I'll fix that in a second. Hang on. You need to hear them like you're really there. Well, here, I think 13 will probably do. Unfortunately, I have completely missed the entire solution here, so I'm just going to... Oh, fuck. That sound fucks me up, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. It's all the same... I'm sorry, I'm laughing too hard. I'm also not very smart. Oh god. I'm so glad. Okay, we did it. Oh, oh, my sound is hiccuping something pretty serious there. They're only supposed to play those notes once each. Congratulations, you successfully unlocked the front door. You're awarded the memory puzzle plaque. You keep it to help you remember this feat. I'm gonna need it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, this game's soundtrack has some jams, but this one, I don't know, this one's just creepy. Well, let's take a look at this hallway we're in. Perspective seems a little bit, fishboned. Pincushioned, that's right. Fishboned, Jesus Christ. I think I was first thinking keystone, and then I... That's not correct either. Keystoning is when it's, like, tilted wrong. Anyway. Door in the back. Yes, that's my brain cells falling out. A sign on this solid wooden door reads Clock Room. There's a keypad on the door for opening its combination lock. How does that go? Mirror, mirror on the wall? No, that only works in mixed-up fairy tales. You've heard that people were shorter in medieval times, and it must be true. This armor is at least a foot short. Oh. Oh, it's one of those games, is it? First floor hallway of the castle, thank you. The flower is supposed to be standing at a foot of wall. Oh boy. What do you know? Oh jeez. The desk is 3 foot tall. 4 foot, then guess the oaks on you. Wow, that is so... Oh boy. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, holy shit. Oh no. Sign on this wooden door reads Math Marvel. Ah, fuck, we're doing math. Yes. Metal doors labeled magic numbers. Let's go in here. This is a magic square. Place numbers in the square such that they add to the same totals across each row, down each column, and along both diagonals. Get stuck, spend a hint coin for some clues on how to solve this type of magic square. So, yeah, no, this is definitely like education game, but they definitely gave us this quite early. So, this whole style of puzzle is, like I said, it's one that's a bit stock. Here they throw in an extra layer of obfuscation by trying to make every number odd numbers, but I believe that our solution is going to stay the same here. If I just things... I think it's like this, but if not, I could be, you know, it could just be me being an idiot again. something kind of like rotational to this pattern that I'm... And yeah, 64 across all of them. That, yeah. All right. Well, see, that was quite easy, and I only had to cheat a little bit. But that's one of, like, one puzzles in this that I'm going to cheat at. First code word is bridge. Okay, let's go enter our combination. Ah, shit. So that's what that chart in the top right is for anybody who is looking at that, and if you're not, that's fine too. This is the game's anti-piracy. That's a page from the manual. And this is our anti-piracy check, is we have to put in the combination of alchemy symbols here that correspond to each of these code words, these games and activities. So in this case, we're looking at Venus, Mars, Uranus. And yes, I pronounced that in a way that's probably not what you expected, because I'm a pain in the ass like that. And this here, the math marvel, this is... I already spotted one of these pretty simply. So we've got your 4 basic operators here, and you have to do inputs to allow you to obtain the correct number, basically. So on easy mode, this is a little bit simpler because all of these are in the same row, basically. So everything up here will go in here, everything here will go over here, everything here will go over here. In this mode, they have scrambled that up a little bit in order to try and trick you. However, I made things a little bit easier by noticing one of the puzzles very quick. And we get ourselves a key that we use later. A lot of the adventure games sort of basics, oh goodness, the trappings of the adventure game, a lot of them are not actually that well used. And by well used, I mean well in the sense of by amount. So Mercury, Pluto, Uranus, and that is blackjack. Unfortunately, this is a kid's game, so no hookers. But anyway. Oh, shit. Inside the drawer, you find a sliding tile puzzle. The object is to arrange the tiles correctly. I don't like these. When you have correctly arranged the tiles, you will have created a picture of Dr. Brain's castle. The tile will end up in the bottom right corner. Well, at least we know that. So, on easy mode, this is a 3x3 numerical puzzle. Middle difficulty is 4x4. So it's like the traditional 16 puzzle. This is just kind of horrendous. There's probably about to be no small amount of me just sort of trial and erroring my way into maybe hopefully getting this right. Yeah, no, this part is not good. The game picks up a little bit in quality after the first act. Phrases this in such a way that it's like I'm pretending that it's not an adventure game for actual children, in an attempt to make them learn things. Because we must remember that there was this era where everybody was very concerned about video games rotting kids' brains. Nowadays, with how we use the term brain rot, it's like they're not concerned with any of that bullshit anymore at all. Brain rot is the target that a lot of corporations are aiming at now. Now, we can also use a hint coin to get a look at what the solution will be like, because I did the foolish thing of not just memorizing the image like I should have done. You know, like I would have if I wasn't such a scrub. A scrub at Dr. Brain. But here we are. You know, if you take the hints, it reduces your score. And as we all know, this is the 90s. The only part of a video game that matters at the end is your score. That has to go there. Yeah, I've been doing at least part of this. Okay. Yeah, okay, I can see what's going on. Yeah, this is it, but why is that? No, I think that goes over on the left, doesn't it? Yes. Okay, so that's purple, so that does. No, 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 I see. Okay, I saw the couple of pixels there. That's the underside of the bridge. Okay, so I think I've got the like outer edge here, and that is at least some sense of forward progress. This is if I can just like flip the sense it. That's but that works. I just have to actually flip those around, basically. We're getting there. Okay, so that should be the top of the castle. There we go. That only took us probably like 15 minutes. And the last keyword is, of course, golf. Earth, Saturn, and Mercury. As the door opens, you notice a small award plaque showing that you have passed the mathematics examination with distinction. If that's what you want to call it, sure. You pick it up proudly. Now, this is a very stress-inducing room that's kind of a pain in the ass, and probably the most Sierra-like thing out of the entire game. You have entered a room filled with clocks of all kinds. Clocks. Your gaze is drawn to the 4-button panel next to the cuckoo water clock.
You now have 60 seconds.
So, we're going to fail at this, basically. We got these 4 buttons here. And each button does something different. You can, in fact, read them. This button turns the radio on and off. This button starts or stops the clock. It also sets off the alarm. This button makes the cuckoo enter or leave the clock. It also turns the clock on. This button turns off the alarm, but only if the cuckoo is quiet and the radio is playing.
You now have 30 seconds.
So, I'm going to reset this real quick and see if I can remember, like, how to do this at all. Oh, actually, that's quite a bit easier than I thought it was. So it's like 1, 3, 2, 4, 1. And that will do it. But it's very stressy and very, like, nerve-wracking. And logicking this out, especially on the timer, is something you need some dry-ass powder for, and I cannot pull that off. So let's take a look around the room here. Better really leave the clock alone. You had enough trouble stopping it the first time. No thanks, the clock already has a perfectly good pair of hands. Thank you. Oh, alarming. You can't do anything to the alarm. Yes, yes. Oh. Back to this in a second. That's an actual puzzle. Now that you've disarmed the alarm system, these buttons no longer do anything. That's probably for the better. The Gnomon is firmly attached to the sundial. If you really need a Gnomon, try the sundial in Trinity. That's Well, I don't know that game offhand. That's another Sierra, I'm sure. A special security feature prevents the elevator doors from being opened until you've punched in. Alright, fair enough. Anything else to say here? Dr. Brain wanted to make sure he could still tell time if the power went off, so he installed this sundial. Of course, he forgot about the minor problem of having 2 floors of the castle between this room and the sun. Yeah, good job, buddy. A triangular thing in the middle is called a gnomon. Door is fastened by the Acme time lock. We'll take a look at that in a second. Alarm. Another of Dr. Brain's famous garage sale artifacts. Garage sale artifact is a fantastic turn of phrase. This is a clock that runs backwards sometimes. It doesn't keep very good time even when it's running, but might make a pretty good fan if you attach some fan blades. And here we've got a punch clock. That's going to be the site of the next puzzle here. A water-powered cuckoo clock. I mean, hey, why not, right? You're in a room filled... I just read a really good pun here. You're in a room filled with clocks and timepieces of all kinds. They were originally all set to Greenwich Mean Time, but Dr. Brain didn't want anyone to think he was mean, so he reset them. I wonder what they're timing off of at all, if anything now. Just time. Famous dancing elves. Not that kind. Anyway, let's take a look at this thing. Tell me the puzzle again. This is one of Acme's famous time locks. To open it, you need to press the open button exactly 40 seconds after pressing start. You can flip either hourglass immediately after either runs out. Of course, the lock is really controlled by the hourglasses, not by time, so you have a few seconds to make each flip. Thank goodness. But you'll have to flip the hourglasses in the right order to measure out 40 seconds to open the drawer. The large hourglass will run for 35 seconds when flipped, and the small one for 15 seconds. Bloody blah blah. Hint coins. I'm sure that most of you can probably hash out the solution to this one pretty easily. But instead of explaining it, I will demonstrate. So you start, and it moves your mouse cursor over to the open button immediately, which is good because that's completely useless. At least for now. I performed that like absolute hot garbage, so I'm surprised that I got away with it. So I'll pick that up, and it really won't let me click back into the interface. So basically, I'll go ahead and I'll explain this again. Fairly simple puzzle, but at least I assume that this one's fairly simple. So 40 seconds, the big one runs at 35. Where are you going to get 5 seconds from after that? Well, you can reduce... the other one is... Let me word this correctly. So the other one is 15 seconds. So if you flip that over twice, that's 30 seconds. And then you have 5 seconds on each side of the remaining time there, I guess. There's 5 seconds left in the big hourglass, and 5 seconds afterwards you have to acquire somehow. So you just flip the 15-second hourglass again, let the big one run out, and when it does, flip the 15-second over, and it will empty its supply back in, and there you go, 40 seconds. This is an odd one because you might not think, oh, hey, yeah, I can definitely flip these while they're still going. On novice mode, the big hourglass is only 25 seconds, so it's much easier. Okay, so this is some pattern recognition stuff. I think these puzzles are going to be exactly the same as they were on the lower difficulties. Don't take my word for that, though. This first card has previously been used at 112, 224, 336. So there's a pattern of going up by 1 hour and 12 minutes every time. So you set the clock to the correct time, which in this case is going to be 4:48. Insert the card, and there you go. Now this time we're adding 2 hours, 15 minutes each time, leaving us with a target time here of 11 o'clock. Oh, yeah, remember that each digit, they won't affect each other when you press the buttons. Now this one is a little bit odd because you can see those gaps in the hours are getting larger. 10:18, 8:27, 5:36. So for this, our hours are going down by -2, -3, and then you'd assume -4 after that. But our minutes are going up by 9 each time. So our target here, it's a little bit funky, but 145 will get you in. And there we go. Good going. You're now punched in and ready for work. The back door opens to reveal an elevator car. I'm pretty sure this is what any sort of doing things in a business setting is like. Okay. I'll tell you immediately what the difference is between this in the early difficulties and the higher difficulties, which is that each time you get less information on the map. We have nothing right now. So I'll tell you that this is a 4x4x4 cube maze. And I don't remember the exact solution, so that'll be fun. This maze is constructed of steel panels. This button says it's out of order. This would give you different views of the map over here, but obviously we're up shit creek on that one, so. Press the up button to go forward. Back to go backwards. Left turns us left with a very silly sound. And the same for right. Is there anything about that? Oh no, this says nothing. Anything. And of course, these buttons are used for controlling when we go up and down floors. So, we are starting at, I believe that would be position X equals 3, Y equals 4, but again, don't take my word for it, on the first floor. I should probably have drawn maps the last time I played this, and perhaps I have, but I don't know where they are. So these might take a minute whenever we encounter them. There are 3 of these mazes in the game. And a large part of that is due to my just not remembering anything. Oops. I just hope you enjoy this stupid noise, because it's pretty amusing. Let's give Sierra credit that even when they were a bunch of pricks, they always knew how to make their games look and sound really good for the time. A lot of lovely artwork in a lot of these games, and then there's some that probably look like pants too, but I don't remember offhand. Also, very helpfully is that I have no sense of direction, really. You put me somewhere without a map, I will get so lost. In fact, you can even give me the map and I'll give you new ways of getting lost. Here we are. Leave the maze through the north exit. And it's time for level 2. This is computer stuff. Through the window you can see a maze. There's a robot moving around through the maze. Got a garbage can here. Dr. Brain doesn't believe in war or violence, that's why he threw out all these old weapons here. Spinning mace and flail, better stay clear. Oh, spears look really sharp. Can we poke the... Oh, I've never heard that sound before.
Ow, stop it.
I wasn't expecting it to change. Wow. Console built into this door says robot riddles. Oh, I hope you're ready for some really bad jokes, everybody. In a few minutes. This high-tech door is labeled computer room. And this? One of those capacitive touch-controlled light bulbs. That sounds like a good way to have a bad time. Why, it's very nice of you to try to take out Dr. Brain's garbage, but the can is too heavy for you. It's a lot of big, all-metal spears, to be fair. That might be a bit much. On the mace ball and it starts doing that. Click on the light bulb, it activates the mace too for some reason. A magnetic data card to open. That does not look like something magnetic data card for you. Give me the most like standard wooden door for that sort of thing. Well, go in here, open the door to the computer room, and let's see some stuff. This is a resistor as opposed to a draft resistor. This dancing electrolytic capacitors. Yeah, so they do with the fact that they never made it big. Well, I mean, I feel like once your electrolytic capacitor starts dancing, you might want to get away from that circuit board. Hi, Retro. Resistor is used to control the flow of current through a circuit, as opposed to a joke that we've seen before already. Damn, are they running out already? Which probably controls the flow of air through a drafty castle. Yeah. The happy red disc capacitor. Okay, Bob Ross. And this is just a chunk of metal, I guess. Too large. They're supposed to be... Yeah, they are, actually. I was like, you sure about that? So, over here, we've got some very useful information on how to construct this circuit, which is a puzzle that does not change between difficulty whatsoever. Dr. Brain built this tape drive out of an old washing machine. It's totally obsolete, but he insisted on keeping it in the system out of a sense of history. Ah, yes, I remember computers that had tape machines in them. Used one personally, but I remember they exist. A once state-of-the-art, manually motivated binary sequencing computer. It's not even as up-to-date as the tape drive, but it could use your help. Okay, so let's get a look here. And go back and reread the rules of the circuit. Form a complete circuit from lower left to lower right, so we know where to go. Don't make any short circuits or duplicate connections. Power source comes first. That's quite straightforward. Need to slow things down before you can whirl them around. If a component is yellow, leave it until last. Banded elements must come after switches. Well, that actually just straight up tells us how to do it very simply. If you think, power source comes first. Capacitor is yellow, so it goes last. So, switch has to come before a resistor, and a resistor is necessary before you use a coil. So, again, this one kind of hashes itself out for you pretty easily. Congratulations, you have successfully assembled the central control circuit. Now you can pick up Easy Listening 107, all music all the time. Either that or you've managed to repair the binary sequencing computer. You're rewarded a memento copy of the control circuit, proving that you know how to follow directions. Well, thanks. Oh, shit. Okay, so this is pretty obvious as to what it is. This puzzle is... Do you know how to speak robot? AKA, do you know how to enter numbers in binary? Unfortunately, this game is a bit of a rat bastard right now because we don't get to see what we've entered. Ooh, this would mess me up really badly and probably will. So, let's think about our binary digits here. This is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. So, 128, 64. Turn that on. Subtract 64 from 91. Yes, we're turning this into math again for 27. So we know that we need that on. 26. Yeah, so that's 16 minus 10. Or 16 plus 10, rather. There's our 10, there's our 16. It does make a confirmation noise when you've gotten it right, at least, so we'll give it credit for that. 224 is one that I think is kind of easy. 28 plus an additional 64 makes 92. 192, rather. And so all we need there is that one. Whoops. It'd be a lot easier if I wasn't a dang moron. Alright, so let's start from 224 here real quick, and we need an additional 22. Which is a not at all awkward number. Add 16. And that puts us at requiring 6. There we go. But we can immediately click these on, right? Because we know that is that much. And neither of these are going to have anything from 32 up activated because... So, none of these four, because 128 plus 32 is 160. So we can probably do that next, right? We add the 16 on both of these, bringing each of them up to 144. Need 14 here and 11 here. And that was mostly a guess, to be perfectly honest with you. Or that would put us to 152. That's just all the others. Oh, I was a little worried for a second. It took a moment there for it to actually hash out for me. Congratulations, you have solved the binary conversion puzzle and fixed Dr. Brain's stereo system. Magnetic data card pops out of a slot in the console, and you pick it up for later use. Now, there's this nuclear reactor. That's worrying. Nothing about that makes me feel good. So let's go in here. You open the door to the robot maze. Very green. Help the robot travel through the maze by clicking on intersections. At an active intersection, the robot will turn right. At inactive intersection, the robot just keeps going. Pick up the A's. Don't put your robot in the swirly things. You run over a switch, it toggles some of the swirly things. But yeah, if you bump into a wall, and it doesn't really explain this too well, you turn around. Hey, listen, I'm trying to... thing. I think it's moving faster on the higher difficulty. I'm not completely certain of that, but it definitely feels like the case. So, I guess credit where it's due for them actually kind of adding something to this. Making it a little bit more reflexive. It's more like an actual video game this time. I really like the music in here, but unfortunately we're not getting a good image of it because of the sound effects. I will at some point try telling ScummVM to turn off the sound effects and like rip this game's whole soundtrack, I guess. Assuming that I remember, which that should be fairly possible for me to do. That much of my brain still works. So, That's one where I mostly just remember the exact solution. But also, it's something you can mostly hash out on your own. A big part of it that will help you figure things out is that nothing goes unused. And also, you should be able to just go up to the menu in order to, like, soft pause it. Actually, maybe not in that room, but... Excuse me. I apologize. So here we go. It's time to negotiate some robot riddles. What's special about the way a robot plant grows? Well, we just saw the answer. We can read the rest of these, though, once it loops around. A. Multiply. B. Apply CPU. C. It has square roots, which is going to be our answer. E. To avoid short circuits. And E. A calculator. This is going to be really a thing, huh? Special about the way a robot plant grows? I guess that has square roots. What kind of computer does a dairy farmer use? He fights like a calculator. Why do robots always take the longest path between 2 points? Well, it is D, to avoid short circuits, apparently. What do robot rabbits do best? Oh, I've seen that particular piece of imagery. What should you do when a robot is having a heart attack? Take it to the robot hospital. And there we go. Solved enough riddles that the robots think you're their kind of humanoid. One that loves bad jokes. Door opens. This room. There's some fun going on here. And by that, I mean... Oh, yeah. We're on expert mode, so we have to use all three of the versions of this programming thing. So, by the way, the main differences between the last couple of puzzles, the binary things have smaller numbers on novice mode, and intermediate, they're up to bigger numbers, but both of them are, you can actually see the number in the box when you're triggering things to see what your value is. And for robot riddles, you have to do 3 on novice and 4 on intermediate. We had to do 5 because we're on expert. You're in a room filled with spare robot parts. Always a good time. The room is dominated by a large glass case containing a simple maze. A robot torso is attached to one end of the maze. Also see a computer console on the on the table near the front of the room. As you enter the room, the 3 robot heads on the shelf begin to speak. You know that Dr. Brain has created 3 models of robot. One kind is programmed to always tell the truth, another kind always lies, and the third model alternately tells the truth and lies. How do you know this? Did he send you an email about this? I am programmed to always follow instructions precisely. Iron Face also follows instructions precisely. I am programmed to always follow instructions precisely. Saucerhead never follows orders correctly. I am programmed to always follow instructions precisely. I am the only precise order follower here. Each of these robot heads is obviously a different model. Only the truth-telling head will follow your programming precisely. The lying head will always do the opposite of what you tell it, and the confused head will alternately follow your instructions or do the reverse of them. So, this is an odd one because, yeah, this sort of puzzle is, well, it's sort of like the gatekeeper, one of you tells the truth, one of you tells only lies sort of thing. There's a couple of ways that you can hash this out, and the first one is to try to do some of the basic pathing on any of these robot heads and just guess based off of what you see. But I'll explain the answer right now. So, we've got propeller head here. This one alternates between doing the thing you tell it to and doing the opposite. The logic here, I assume, is supposed to be the idea that you can tell it's not correct at least all the time based on the fact that it suggested to follow instructions precisely. And also, then the description calls it confusing. You can tell by the way that it's like rolling its eyes and it's got all these, you know, it's wearing a goofy propeller beanie to make it look like it, you know, a bit of a goofus that you kind of go, oh, yeah, okay. This robot hand looks like a miniature forklift. It's designed to carry fairly large and heavy objects. This robot hand features a dart gun, which can fire a dart with a soft rubber tip. The dart should be able to grab and hold a lightweight, smooth surface object. And lastly, this robot hand features an electromagnet. It can pick up a moderately heavy metallic object. Do not put this near a hard drive. Otherwise, it will go very, very badly. So in order to try to reduce the amount of challenge that's involved here, I am going to use the robot head that sucks first. And by the robot head that sucks, I mean the propeller head, because let's be honest here, it kinda does. And I think this is the correct program. Because sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell ranges. Like, I think grid lines on this would probably help just to deal with the part that probably shouldn't be the real challenge. At least, in my opinion, it probably shouldn't be. But yeah, we pulled that off pretty easily. Especially, very helpfully, the alternating robot head starts on true and then goes true, false, true, false. And yeah, when you use the arm correctly, it disappears, and when you solve with the correct head, once you've solved enough puzzles with a certain head that it's not usable anymore, it does a little bit of this action. So, on Novice mode, you only have to use one head, so you can just pick up Iron Face and just do all of them in the most straightforward manner possible. On Intermediate, you have to use 2 of them. Oh. Yeah, let's put this in here. Save for a second. I want to examine some of these things. Yeah, see, he's got these 2 candle bulbs and then a regular one. That's fun. Computer console can be used to program a robot in the high-level Robocomp computer programming. I see, almost like RoboCop. I think Carol J is more functional than this. This electroplate contains the remains of a robot cookie. That's funny. You thought robots only like chips. This is the workbench where Dr. Brain makes new breakthroughs in robotic technology and occasionally grabs a quick lunch. Keep it away from that keyboard, it'll get full of crumbs. Box contains a maze. Attached to the back, it's a robot torso. In the front drop box, inside the maze are 2 objects. I assumed that this said 3 objects and described the book as well earlier, but yeah, obviously, yeah, got that already. This strip supplies power to the robot box and to the Robocomp programming console. This shoe features rubberized insulation for working with... Oh my goodness. There's quite a few lines you can get from examining this. The shelf contains tools and spare robot parts, including a right-handed widget, a reverse polarized circumlocutor. That sounds quite a bit more impressive than it is. I don't think that's even close to a legitimate thing. A left-handed screwdriver. And I think that's just a regular screwdriver, champ. You got ripped off. A set of drafters. Oh. And they used the joke 3 times, everybody. We got him. We got him. Oh. See, I knew there was another message. Interactive whatchamacallit. And that's a pretty good description of what this game is. I mean... No. Anyway. blank the program, and here we go. Right, back 1, 2, 3, left, back, right, on, left, left, back. Oh shit. That should be off, pardon me. Yeah, it didn't insert. On. That should do it for us. Yay. And yeah, that guy is not going to be usable again anytime soon. So we wind this up with the easiest head. Left, up, up, up. Right, 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 right. On. Left, left, up. Right, up, off. And assuming that I've gotten this order correctly, because yeah, this area in particular is really bad for like scaling concerns. And we get the plastic blue sheet apparently. It opens the way to one more elevator out of, there's many of them. There's 3. Why am I saying one more? There's one more after this one. And this one is significantly more of a maze. So obviously taking the path of what seems to be least resistance will probably not get you any. But yeah. It's a shockingly modern game. It's got a lot of screen shake effects in it. Oh. Yeah, that was shockingly easy. So what do we got here? On the 3rd floor hallway, the language hall. Sign over the door reads puzzle room. The door has a curious square-shaped lock mechanism. This is a bust of Dr. Brain on a classic ionic column, as used by the ancient Greeks. You had no idea he was so old, or so vain. It's a rubber tree. These can be very useful should you fall off a high cliff. They are much less useful inside a castle. Unless you're trying to extract some sort of sticky resin so that way you can eventually make rubber. A sign on the door reads, Word Games. Well, find some sort of key. Open the door's strange-looking lock. The marble bust is cool to the touch. After all, it hardly knows you. Thank you. The rubber tree feels kind of rubbery. What a surprise. Indeed. I'll be back in a moment, everybody. My throat's getting a little dry. I could use a drink. Wow, this thing is really sensitive even when it's off. Just trying to move it and I see it making noises on my OBS output there. So, yeah. Okay, I'll actually be right back now. Knowing that it did that, I kind of want to record that and see what it sounds like. Anyway, here we go. It's time for a word search puzzle using some stuff we found in the manual. This is a word search puzzle. Find words of 4 or more letters relating to sports and games in the grid. Select the words by dragging the mouse from the first to the last letter of each word. Using the keyboard, highlight the first letter of the word, press enter, highlight the last letter, then press enter again. It's helpful to have that, actually. All the words are in a straight line, either horizontally, diagonally, or vertically in any direction. Many of the letters are used in more than one word. There are 25 words altogether. A list can be found in the game manual. So that anti-piracy chart is coming in handy again. Each hint coin you spend will find a missing word for you. You need to find all 25 words. You have located 0 words. You have 25 left to go. Okay, so I can't really see that in my OBS preview, so, here. Smut. Is that a sport? It's in a sport or game, at least not one that we know of. Thought of. I see Brett there. Is that, like, Brett Favre? Spotted one of the team members' names, but we're people, not sports or games. Still, thank you for choosing us. That's fun. They've got a couple of those just hanging out in there as Easter eggs. I do appreciate a good Easter egg in a video game. And back in this day, ooh, this was a prime era for that kind of shit. Let me tell you what. Anyway, tic-tac-toe is right there at the top, thank goodness. We got football here, golf, and some jacks. And also right over here is dominoes. Wow, I noticed that pretty quick. Yeah. V-cop? Oh wait, no, sorry, poker. Cut me some slack there. I did the slightly wrong. Oops. Checkers. I noticed that one pretty quickly. I didn't say chess was in an obvious spot. It's tennis. There's also Dennis in there somewhere, which is quite fun. But... puzzle. Billiards. Forgot that was there. Blackjack. Chess. I am doing like really well at this in terms of just identifying some of these words. So, a thing that will help with no small amount of them is that a couple of these words have some very, very identifiable structures or unusual letters in them. And it helps sometimes to go look for one of those letters and then just look around every instance of it for the next couple of letters in the chain. So, for example, you find this J here, I, G. Hey, look, it's jigsaw. Not to be confused with that jigsaw. That's something else entirely. But also, you can see that there's a couple of instances where they do some things to trick you, like here's the back half of puzzle, but obviously it's not part of it. Oh, there's horseshoes. Just noticed that, like, immediately. Dennis. Yeah. I said it earlier. I felt like I had to. Baseball. Go look for more of our double L's real quick, because that is surely going to lead us to some more stuff there. But there's a lot of uses of those. Oh, there's pool, or loop, because it's backwards there a little bit. That's basketball? Yeah, but I'm spelling it backwards. It does care about the order. ball, basketball, football. So we've got all the ball words there. There's hockey. Go Sabres. I don't know much about hockey, but I do know about Taro Sugimoto and the Buffalo Sabres. When the Buffalo Sabres drafted a player who did actually exist. And they did it on purpose, too. It's not like it was some sort of weird, like, screw up on their part. Got 5 more to go. So, backgammon, bowling. Backgammon, bowling, hearts, soccer, and spades, I believe. I was gonna say, I remember that hearts was spelled backwards, and there it is. Okay, so there's a couple here with some very obvious, unique. Hey, there's soccer. Yeah, for our double letters, so we can get soccer, backgammon. We can get a similar way. Just gotta go find a double M somewhere. Oh no. Yeah, double M. Okay. It's like, wait a second. Yeah. Backgammon, a very old game, historically speaking. My family somewhere had like this old backgammon set in kind of a leather case. I don't think it's still around on it, unfortunately, but I knew where it was. I would love to dig that out and closet somewhere. As I'm just like, yeah, it would be nice to have that. What would I do with it? I don't know how to play backgammon. Spades. Our last one is bowling. Huh? Oh, got that pretty quickly. Congratulations, you found 25 sports and games. You're a swish and click as the words slide into another puzzle. And it didn't tell me about it. Usually it does, but I guess I gotta click on the question mark here. This is an acrostic, as you can tell. Words which are hidden in the word search puzzle are in a list on the right side of the display. Highlight one of the words, then click on a line with the same number of letter spaces. When all of the lines are correctly filled, the vertical line will spell a phrase describing the words you used. You can use a hint coin to put in the next word that you are missing or have wrong. So you could probably flop through this over time, but I'll tell you that the acrostic phrase here is parlor games. This puzzle does not change based on difficulty. The word search just makes you get a larger proportion of the words every time. So in this case, I kind of happen to remember quite a lot of it, so ultimately I'm not showing you off too much the real way to deal with it. But I'm sure that all of you are absolutely gutted, and I'm going to be, I'll never eat lunch in this town ever again, right? It's quite unfortunate. Oh no, that's not correct. Pardon me. Blackjack, that's the one I wanted. Bridge. Backgammon. So, and we're looking for a letter M, third dominoes. There we go. And yeah, I told you. Like I said, this puzzle does not change based on the difficulty whatsoever. Congratulations, you solved both the word search and acrostic puzzles, proving yourself to be an expert at word games. You are awarded the word game achievement plaque and a set of tangram pieces that you can use to open the door at the end of the hallway. Place your tangram pieces on the grid to form a square and spell the password. Click on one of the pieces around the puzzle border to pick up and move that piece. Click on the rotation symbol, then on a piece to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Click on the second time, stop rotate. Temporarily remove the grid by clicking on the piece and clicking outside the grid. If you need help at solving the puzzle, blah blah blah. So on lower difficulties, this has like a grid to show you roughly where each of the pieces goes, like giving you an idea of the shapes and everything. This one's quite simple as soon as you recognize that the word that you need to spell is enter. Also, the pieces lock together a little better when you place them in the right place. The sheer amount of those that didn't rotate was quite high, so I think it's randomized per playthrough. Congratulations, you formed the secret password. Enter with your Tangram pieces. The door to the puzzle room opens. Oh, are you all ready for the most exciting part of the game? I might be lying here. This room looks incomplete. Since we really forget to finish a painting before shipping a game, it must be up to you to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Get puzzle pieces by clicking the hand on the chest. Click a piece anywhere on screen to place it. Pick up a piece by clicking on it, or several pieces by dragging the mouse across them. Put pieces aside by clicking them on the chest opening. So yes, it's a jigsaw puzzle, and it functions exactly as you would expect it to. You'll get a nice confirmation sound when you have put a piece in the correct location. So, unsurprisingly, this is a lot of pieces on expert mode. It's less pieces on novice difficulty. Couldn't remember the name for a second. And on intermediate, they do something interesting where you have like this size of pieces, but all the border is filled in. Which is interesting because that means that it's taking away the easiest part of the puzzle for you and, you know, doing it for you. But also it does give you a little bit of progress for free. And yeah, of course, we're trying to go for the outer edge here and fill that in first before we go for anything on the inside. But if I see a couple of pieces that go into like stupidly obvious locations, well, let me tell you, I'll put those in if necessary. By if necessary, I mean if they're there at all. Eventually it will be necessary, so still technically the correct phrase to say. Oh, I didn't see that perfectly. I mean, you've all done a jigsaw puzzle at least once in your life, right? Or familiar with some basic concepts of them. Probably. I like the music track in here also. I mean, I kind of like most of the game's soundtrack. There's a couple of duds here and there, but well, this is clearly not one of them, in my opinion. And yes, some of the piece borders get a little bit like crappy around where the chest is. But that's okay, it's only... It fixes itself soon enough. That back. Oh, that's corner. I just noticed. Oh, yeah. Now, one thing you can do to make it a little bit less crappy to cycle through these pieces is you can just not throw back the ones that you're not ready for into the box right away. That does not look like a board. That looks like it's got a little lip of paint. And yeah, part of this is that I just remember roughly where several of the objects in the picture are as well, so I'm using that to assist me with some of these placements into the picture, if that makes it go like, oh, you know, if that seems like I'm like pulling these out of the void, it's because I have a very strong memory of a lot of parts of this game. I actually just replayed this recently because I wanted to see how feasible it would have been for me to do a rip of the soundtrack, because like I said, there's a lot of pieces of music in here that I like. And yeah, I guess I would actually have to go into the options on ScumVM and tell it to switch off the sound effects. Because apparently, A, that's a thing I can do, and B, there's, well, quite a few pieces of music where I had that problem of the sound effects being there, causing issues for you. Oh, the site you used to solve puzzles went down. That's a shame. Everything on the internet is like slowly falling apart and disappearing. And of course, there's a lot of very specific things that are being talked about quite heavily now, because those are being actively destroyed. But that's, you know, I didn't want to get too political on that one. Just, well, we'll leave it out for now. But just in general, the fact is that the internet is really not doing a great job of lasting forever. And it's quite sad. I mean, I get why, but it still sucks. On that. That didn't look perfect. Some bits of that edge were... I don't know, maybe doing like a jigsaw thing on the a little bit more of a fun thing. I tend to find jigsaw puzzles in real life to be a bit of a pain in the ass for a variety of reasons. One of them, of course, is the fact that they take up so much dang space. I have a whole table and stuff set up for this, and what else can you do? This... So, oh, no, it goes up there. Oh. That's just a really awkward shape. And yeah, another thing you can see how readily these shapes try to deceive you is higher difficulty. Because some of them kind of look like they're frame pieces, but they've got just that one little pixel there that's clearly not. I know that fits somewhere. There. Until I found it. Yeah, it fits right. I think it's actually the. Come back to that in a few. Goes up to the. Oh, there we go. That one. It's perfect. Unaimed shot there. Uh, afterward. Cool. That one's. That one we had a good look at the shape there. This is somewhere on this side, but later. I like how extremely not willing it's been to give the last piece, by the way. Last few pieces of the something kind of funny about it, that's all. There we go. Figure that out eventually. There, actually. We probably cycled through that. Together. That, however. There we go. We finally managed to get the entire frame. Wonderful. Thank you for taking forever on several of those games. Very funny. There, I see the part. Disregard my question. I figured it out eventually on my own. There it is. About to say we don't have that one yet. I was thrown off by all the silver in there. I thought it could have been part of the wheat. That wouldn't quite make sense. a little bit angled, but I think that's just... I have this. There it is. I knew that was part of one of the objects, I just couldn't... I thought it was the bow. Can be a little imprecise when you're trying. There we go. Oh, that's somewhere. Well, I wasn't sure exactly where, as you could tell. Out there. Some of these shapes are messing with me. There we go. Oh, what that was. Boxing gloves. Actually, oh right, it's the wig head. Right, right. Starting to take... Oh, there we go. Congratulations, you managed to put the room back together. This is the sort of room you and Dr. Brain like, filled with all kinds of toys. Door in the back of the room. Amazing how smoothly the puzzle now almost looks so real you could feel you could almost reach out and open the back wall. Look in vain, but find nothing except a 1981 Prince Charles and Lady Diana picture calendar with pop-ups. That's how you can do without that. There is dialogue if you look in that while it's not done, but I forgot. Dr. Brain's experiment with magnetizing his bowling ball in the head pin almost worked, but he got caught, or rather the pin did. Porcelain theater mask. And some boxing gloves. His youth, Dr. Brain contended for the heavyweight title as Bare Belly Brain. Lost. This is one of Dr. Brain's greatest bad puns. Dr. Brain likes to wear this helmet on walks, especially when he's just roaming around. It's unbearable. Ah, yes, this is a great room. Clown doesn't seem to know which end is up. Dr. Brain much prefers alphabet blocks to mental blocks. Dr. Brain could figure out how to put this ship in a bottle. Well, you see, you just have to build the bottle around the ship. Wait, no, that's not how that works. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull this rabbit out of my hat. On the other hand, maybe you better leave that for the professionals. His head looks wigged out, yeah. Dr. Brain bought these in Spielberg, huh? But decided he was more interested in being a scientist than a hero. Of course, you can do both. Watch out, another cheap plug coming up. All you have to do is buy Quest for Glory 1, so you want to be a hero. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think that's available in any new format whatsoever nowadays. Can't even buy it digitally. I think you have to just buy the actual discs. Or, you know, the usual method. Magicians use these once to improve their spell. Oh, boom. Beautifully handcrafted Spanish guitar. Not much else to say about it. Stool. Oh, it's a elemental table, apparently. Borrowed from Aziza in Quest for Glory 2 Trial by Fire. Actually, this is a cheap plug for another of Corey's computer games. Corey, whatever his name. It's his first name. His second name starts with a C. Pardon me. Second name. Last name. Pardon me. Needs to be useful on a visit to Sherwood Forest. Sierra surely had a Robin Hood themed adventure game, right? So that might be an oblique reference to one of those. Dr. Brain keeps his favorite walking sticks, a sword cane and a sugar cane, in this stand. I get you. And lastly, can't be a clown without a unicycle. I mean, I guess you're right. Get me the fuck out of here. Dose Omor. That is Code Room. This is where we're going to be learning a little bit of fairly rudimentary cryptography and stuff of that nature. There's actually quite a lot of very useful information in here that I would highly suggest reading if this is a thing that, like, interests you, or for some reason you think you might need to know how to solve hangman puzzles and stuff later in your life. Maybe this is a test of your screen resolution. On second thought, these letters look very familiar. You're sure you've seen them quite frequently in other places. The top few letters look especially common. Yes, this pattern of ETAOINSHRDLU is based on the most commonly used letters in the English language. So this is the first 12 for you. Got some more things to look at. This skull was left over after one of the doctor's unfortunate brain transplant experiments. Fortunately, Dr. Brain was able to recycle it for a worthy purpose. Wonder what lies beyond this door. Unfortunately, it's locked. You don't see a keyhole, but there is a coin slot. Oh, that's fun. There is a TV monitor set into a TV token slot. Duly noted. Let's go anywhere he's at. This guy looks like a real dummy, but is that any reason to hang him? Apparently to Dr. Brain it is. This leads down to a pool full of piranhas. Dr. Brain so hates to leave, unsightly messes around the castle. Alright there, buddy. James Bond villainy there, huh? Trapdoor cover. The dummy is about to be hung, probably for the crime of being stupid. You can save the dummy by being smart enough to guess 3 words. We'll deal with that in a few minutes. Dr. Brain looks friendly enough, but you wonder if he could be hiding something. Yeah, there's another puzzle back there. Could this be the famed cabinet of Dr. Caligari? That's a bit of a reference for the kids. No, but it is one of the cabinets of Dr. Brain. It features a digital lock. Can you tell me anything about that digital lock? Got a numeric keypad. And nothing else we can find out for now. The book's called Master Secrets of the Code Solvers. I'll look at that in a few minutes. For now, let's take a look at this game of Mastermind right here. This lock is sealed by a set of computer-chosen symbols. To open the lock, you must guess the selected symbols. After each guess, the computer will show you, in red, how many symbols you've guessed correctly but in the wrong positions, and, in blue, how many you guessed exactly right. Guess symbols by clicking on the symbols at the bottom of the display. You can also use the up and down arrow symbols to look at your previous guesses. You have up to 12 guesses. Ooh, it's a little tighter on this difficulty. You have 15 on the lower difficulties, but also on the lower difficulties, you have fewer symbols that you can guess in general, and the mastermind sequence is, in general, much shorter. Pause the computer, reset the combination, you'll have to start over. If you need help, when it buys you the next, yeah, but you don't need it. Okay, so that's still not correct. That is... No, can I... Can't erase that. Shit. That's unfortunate. Well, there's... some of that going on now. Is that not right? Hang on. Okay, so... Well, that worked itself out quite nicely. I didn't even have to think much more than that. Thank goodness. Ah, that did it. The safety door swings open. Inside, you find a bright red key, a scrap of paper with a cryptic note. Pick them up and put them in your bag. Okay, yeah, Conquest of the Longbow is a game set in the Robin Hood world that Sierra owned. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. And if nothing else, it's just like, yeah, of course there is. Guess the word by choosing one letter at a time. Either click on the letters in the hanging post or type them. If your guess is correct, the letters will appear in the word above the dummy. But if you get too many wrong, that dummy is toast. If you get stuck, you can use a hint coin to buy a correct letter that you haven't yet guessed. Each time you guess a word, the dummy will give you a clue to the cabinet lock. After you rescue the dummy, you can review the clues by clicking the eye on the hanging post. Okay, so a good way to do this is just start typing letters from that sequence in order until you reach a point where you can guess the word. Thank you, that feels much better. By the way, the first number of the cabinet combination is 1255. Do that now, because thankfully it saves all of them. Well, that's an animation and a sound. One more dummy lost to the world. Better hope you're smart enough to not let it happen to you. You might start by guessing the next word correctly. Thanks, guy. Okay, this word is honest. I've seen that word before in these puzzles. Oh, it reset our puzzle set entirely here. Resistance. Once again, another word that I've seen in there, but yeah, I don't guess these by number of letters. That was 5... 5096, I believe. Fine. I have to enter the incorrect number. All right. I had no idea what that word was. Might have been excellent for that one, but I'm not confident. Newspaper. Oh, there's our sound effects again. Yeah, you have to do 3 of these properly in a row, so... Editorial, alright. A little bit of some themes to some of these, but... That's entrance. Pick that one up pretty quickly. And there's honest. I just guessed that off of 6 letters because I'm not taking my own advice on that one. 4618. And there we go. I managed to unfuck my entire... Yeah. Inside the cabinet, you find a pay TV token and a strange-looking device labeled Dr. Brain's handy-dandy letter counter. Okay. So, this is one of the very few times in the game where you have to interact with something with a piece from your inventory. And for that, we have to do that. And, yeah, this is a little bit confusing. Hold up. I did say I would read this book to you. Chapter 1, Substitution Ciphers, which is exactly the type of thing that we are looking at right now. And we'll bear witness to that in just a moment. The 2 most common ways of keeping text secret are to encrypt the individual letters using a cipher or to replace words using a code. In this section, we will discuss the most common form of encryption, the simple substitution cipher. In a substitution cipher, each letter of the message is replaced by another letter or symbol. For example, the sentence, "This is a message," would turn into a mirage if all the I's were changed to X's and all the S's were changed to Y's. More commonly, every letter of the message is replaced by a different letter. Easiest way to solve a substitution cipher is to have a table of the substitutions used. Failing that, count each of the letters in the message, look for common short words, and look for double letter patterns. In English, the 3 most common letters of the alphabet are E, T, and A, in that order. Knowing the common letters is very useful in solving ciphers. Count each of the letters, and the most frequent ones are likely to be substitutions for common letters of the alphabet. Also look for common short words. A single letter word is almost certain to be I or A. Common 2-letter words are to, on, of, an, etc. Look especially for the among 3-letter words. It's the most common English word. Finally, check out any double letter pairs. Not all letters can occur as pairs. Frequent letter pairs are TT, OO, LL, FF, NN, EE, SS, RR, and MM. Try to figure out from context which pairs might work. Good luck with your code solving career. I mean, yeah, pretty simple Simple stuff there. So we can take a guess that that H is probably E, which makes this very likely to be. I mean, that forms a the quite effectively. Let's try doing a swap of this. And 4, that's another very common word there. K is very rare, but I is reasonably common, so that seems like a bit of a quick fix there. Could be open. Mind. Okay, yeah, so this is possibilities, right? 2. There we go. Oh, that was quite a bit easier than I made it look. The elevators of the mind only operate for those who keep their minds open to new possibilities. On higher difficulties, on lower difficulties, pardon me, it will show you when letters are correct. And in a case like that, we could just be fumbling around in the middle of nowhere forever. Otherwise, let's get into another elevator. Speaking of fumbling around in the middle of nowhere forever, this is a great place to do a little bit of that. Because I don't remember how to get where we're going. Especially because my spatial awareness is not very good. I often do not know where the hell I am at any given time without any assistance. Okay, yeah, so that just sort of got us around the corner there, I think. Seem to be out of that loop, finally. That's good. Yeah, so I fumbled through that shockingly easily. Leave the maze again. Who else but Dr. Brain would put a planetarium in the basement? I thought we were going up. Excuse me. Maybe the same kind of person who would put the sun and stars in the sky at the same time. There's some fun stuff to look at here. Dr. Brain has arranged for several of his favorite constellations to appear on the planetarium dome. Your gaze moves across the majestic heavens just above the smog line. It's a good thing it's just a painted image of the sun, or you wouldn't be able to see the stars at all, but it's still animated. That's kind of incredible. Dr. Brain is more interested in looking at the stars than being one. Yeah, he seems to be a bit of a recluse and also a bit of a... This spinning globe accurately depicts all of the Earth's major geophysical and political features. Oops, there go the Baltic states. This game came out in 1993, so... Oops, there go the Baltic states. Yeah, that's a great reference for a small child. This is either an Earth-like planet or a hard-boiled egg. Dr. Brain has been missing this baked potato. Yeah, it does kind of look like a baked potato, right? I think this planet might be Saturn. At least that has the right ring to it. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Dr. Brain picked up this spiral nebula at a great discount using his revolving charge, of course. It's another one of those shirt buttons that keeps getting lost in the wash. I like that. At least you know what happens to the hole they cut. At least you know what happens to the hole after they cut it out of a donut. Yeah, usually they package those up at Dunkin' Donuts and they call them Munchkins, and they're in a box of like 30 or something. I can swear at one point they sold them in boxes of 50. Maybe they still do. Anyway, something that size, it's supposed to be like, hey, share this with other people. That never happens, though. Come on. Nobody seemed to be using this manhole cover, so Dr. Brain picked it up to use as a planet. Stole that from Cyan offices, I think. This polished wood cabinet looks totally out of place in the astronomy room. It's securely locked. Well, we'll deal with that later. Alright, show me the constellation puzzle here, gang. Find the stars in the sky dome, which make up each of the 4 constellations. Click on just those stars which form each constellation. Think you have an incorrect star? Click on it again to turn it off. So, I'm sure you can guess right now that you can't see what the star chart is in here. On lower difficulties, you can. And also, when you start drawing out the constellation correctly on the lower difficulties, it starts drawing little red lines up there that are probably a little bit hard to see, but they help you identify when you've started to correctly mark the stars in Perseus or Ursa Major. Clicking's a little bit precise. This was probably easier back in the day, actually. Right now. Answer, draw a crab. This is exactly how you draw a crab, right? Don't you all know how to draw a crab? And lastly, Orion. You can tell from that little belt of 3 stars, but also otherwise, definitely the most involved one here. Is that... Yeah. No. Oh. That? Yes. Okay. Tell I'm not really an expert in this field, but I know enough because I played this recently. Out of this world! You have located all the constellations in the star map. Oh. Can we get any information on this flying saucer? No, we just have to click on it. Free! Free at last! These aliens have lost their homes. Pick any 2 face-down cards and try to match an alien with its home planet. When you make a successful match, the cards will turn face up. Yeah, simple little memory game here, but with some very silly jokes. The Moleri are firmly rooted in their environment and visit the scenic sky cities of Arios. Yeah, I don't think the moles are going to be flying. Get ready for a hot time on Magma 4. Yeah. Look at all those volcanoes. It's like a very poorly color graded. It looks like it could be a set out of like dinosaurs or something. Metallica exports heavy metal bands. I see. It's where Lars Ulrich comes from, and in particular where he got his drum set for Saint Anger. Graviton is a massive planet. We get Icarians have flighty personalities. Do-ho-ho-ho. Easy. The webbed Amphiton species are washouts as diplomat. Hey, isn't that the, weird underwater species from Starbound? Strigers strive to create strong structures. 95% of Oceania is covered by water. Well, I have a feeling that our weird fish frog people are going to like that. Elucidar is known for its spectacular sunsets. It's a very rocky planet. I think this one might be. Yeah, I give that to the mole men. Mechroids like to build for the future. Obviously, you guys are hanging out in the metal planet, huh? Stroud is famous for its strange striped towers. That fits with our funky striped fellas there. Heroes always rise to the occasion. They're just giraffes that stand on their back legs. It gives them even more reach. Mastodons are never at a loss in weighty matters. Yeah. Puns. Geoids like to really rock the house. Thank you, game. There we go. And Velta's high plains feature even higher trees, which you need to be a giraffe standing on your back legs to reach, I guess. I can believe it. Well done! You've performed a major feat of intergalactic diplomacy by helping all the aliens return home. You're awarded the Star Medal First Class. That's not even in our inventory, I don't think, but... oh well.
At the dawn of mankind, some mysterious power conferred intelligence on our ancestors. Now, the monolith, gateway to an even greater knowledge. Office of Dr. Brain. But to pass through the monolith, you must show that you know the cradle of mankind, your own star system. Tag each of the planets with its name, if you can catch it. Well, hey, guess what, everybody? It is classifying Pluto as a planet, so that'll make somebody delighted. Are people still mad about Pluto not being considered a planet anymore? Shit, that's fast. Yeah, I'm going to assume that the big change between difficulties here is that these move fast as hell in in this difficulty, whereas in the lower difficulties they are significantly slower. Which does help for when a couple of you can see the outer planets go off screen. So that's rather irritating. Now that you've found all the planets and saved the solar system from almost certain destruction, maybe you'll finally be able to remember where you parked your bike. Yeah, good luck with that for me. That's never happening anytime soon. Oh, a little bit of screen flashing. I apologize.
My God, it's full of puzzles.
Wow, it's another reference to 2001, which they just got done doing one. All right, let's take a look at this absolute mess of an office. This bookshelf contains a number of the greatest works of scientific research and classical philosophy. There's also a henway. Yes, that about sums up this game in general. You admire the landscape beyond the window for a few moments. Then you remember you're in a basement. Dr. Brain's fax machine is continually spewing out pages of scientific research, results, incredible discoveries, stock market quotes, and sports scores. Dr. Brain seems to be especially interested in the Pro Bowling Tour. I'll deal with that phone in a second. This patch doesn't look very secure. This overstuffed chair looks as though it's seen better days, but it's still very comfortable. I like that it's shaped like a hand. The telephone keeps ringing. Why isn't Dr. Brain picking up the laboratory extension? Right, what do you guys have to say? Hello? Hello? It's somebody from the pizza parlor asking why Dr. Brain hasn't paid last month's pizza bills. Pizza bills. A fun name. The desk blotter is covered with esoteric scribblings. From them, you learned that E equals MC squared, and that Dr. Brain's favorite food is a thick crust sausage and artichoke pizza. It's desk safe blur. Well, that's quite simple. Dr. Brain's desk looks unimpressive, imposing, and seldom used, except for eating pizza. His board is labeled job skills and looks like a giant job application. If only they looked like that. Hello? Hello? It's someone from the rent office asking about Dr. Brain's rent payment. What kind of rent do you suppose you get on a castle? The drawer is locked. The drawer has an unusual red lock. We have a red key from earlier, so we'll be able to do that pretty easily. This drawer is actually a false front. The desk was cheaper that way. I like that it's got papers sticking out, too. The trash can is totally full of old papers, magazines, and newspapers. At least these aren't out on the floor. Appears that Dr. Brain could use a housekeeper as well as a lab assistant. Busy scientists go through a lot of it. No kidding. That's even before you look at all this stuff just spilling out on the floor. Yeesh. Hello, hello? It's Dr. Brain's publisher asking why the manuscript for its latest book is 3 months late. Well, it got lost in the post, I'm sure. This cute little lamp looks like a penguin. Shows the same degree of artistic taste as evidenced by the lawn flamingos. Yeah, bringing it back. Hey, I like those lawn flamingos, and I like the penguin. This note says, help little girl find lost... What is this board, anyway? The board is labeled things to do now. Little girl find lost dog. End war forever. Take out the garbage. Oh boy, you've got to do that real soon, dude. It says, develop a cheap and reliable method of generating and using cold fusion. Ooh, yeah, we still haven't gotten there. As far as we can tell, cold fusion still seems to be a bit of a hoax. You're beginning to get an idea as to why Dr. Brain never answers the phone. No kidding. It's dark. Dr. Brain uses a scientific system of pseudo-random determination to decide which job to tackle next. In other words, he throws darts. Yeah. We're just now getting around. Yeah, that's kind of true, Matt. We're kind of actually getting somewhere with nuclear fusion as an actual thing. Historically, there have been a lot of hoaxes surrounding the concept of cold fusion, especially, I believe the 90s was, if you'll pardon the turn of phrase here, a hotbed for that kind of thing. That there were a lot of people who were like, oh yeah, we can do cold fusion and form infinite energy, and all of them were absolutely lying through their teeth. And if you knew anything about those kind of fields, you'd be able to pick it up pretty quickly. Also from the fact that, like, people didn't seem to get hurt by them is one of the things that a lot of people were saying at the time, is like, where are these dead grad students that should be cropping up for this? Which is a little bit morbid, but I don't think it's wrong. I think there would probably be, you'd hear about more accidents with things like that, but anyway, what else do we got going on here? It is the lamp, thank you. So it says, order pizza. Better make it a large this time. And it says, make a date for bridge game on TSN. Can we do anything with the lamp? Yes, we can toggle it on and off. And start doing these once you become Dr. Brain's lab assistant. You'd better wait until then. Better leave the phone alone. They're starting to sound mad. Can I do anything with the... This looks like the only way Dr. Brain can hold things together around here. Oh boy. Feels like a TV screen. Yeah, I guess it probably would. It looks painted on. Oh, we broke his chair by touching it once. Well, it was a nice chair. Oh, we're not getting that job anymore, guys. Okay, the job skills board. This one is pretty easy. This is sort of a memory test of what you remember from the game. Probably the most adventure game puzzle that you get here in this one compared to all the others. This part is simple. Just click the button until you fill in the board. And you look at each of these achievement icons and you go, which one kind of sounds like each of these phrases? For example, here's a constellation. I think that might fit with cosmic consciousness. 2 + 2 is 4. That's got to be math. So, pattern recognition for the jigsaw. Fair enough. Memory is our memory test there. Timeliness for oh god, why can't I remember hourglass? I was almost about to call it a sand glass, and that's true, but not really. And in this case, follows instructions is how we put that circuit back together. Programming for our robot there. Our language are these letters. Without actually showing us the correct order there, ETA. And lastly, for logic and deduction, is going to be that mastermind game. Hear a voice from the next room. Very good. You seem to have mastered the skills you will need. Please meet me in the control room behind the bookshelf as soon as you can. So you click on that and you get this puzzle, and you have no idea what's going on. Do you have instructions for me? You're sure that this bookshelf blocks the secret passage to Dr. Brain's secret basement lab. He's into secrets. But you'll have to move the books in exactly the right order to open the bookshelf. The clue sheet you got from the robot room should give you some help, if you can get it to make sense. If you're totally stuck, a hint coin will suggest how you can do that. So, you can either take a hint, or you can go for one of the last times that we're doing anything that's really all that adventure game-ish, and go into our inventory. And that's a red lock, so unsurprisingly, a red key will do just fine. The drawer opens to reveal a cheap-looking ring. And apparently, it is the decoder ring. Pick that up, close the drawer. It's awful is what it is. I mean, I like it, but I like it because it's awful. Also, we broke it because of some reason. Anyway. You'd have one. You'd have the hand chair. I mean, it does kind of look comfortable. And, you know, every once in a while, I could use something to help lift my spirits, and in the absence of that, I'll take something that'll lift my ass. So, take the decoder ring, attach it to the thing that we know to be a clue sheet. Suddenly, the clue sheet begins to make sense, except for the part about the henway. What's a henway? A couple of pounds. I forget the exact number that the punchline goes with. I think it's like, oh, about 5 pounds, or oh, about 2 pounds or something. In and out building Amy Rose. Gotcha. Well, we are actually quite close to the end, so yes, anyway. Yeah, point here is henway, stock joke. You sneak that term into a bit of conversation and you get somebody to go, what's a henway? And then you just give them the biggest smirk as you deliver the worst joke ever at them. And yeah, I've pretty much done variants of the henway to various other people. Basically every single Ligma joke is basically just a henway. So if you want to be a person that like frustrates children, I guess, somebody goes, it's so sad that Steve Jobs died of a Ligma, and then you just go, what's a henway? And you upend the entire thing. So, since we're on the high difficulty here, the number of steps involved is a lot. This is like only 6 steps or something on baby mode, but on expert level, we've got to do some actual book movement here. Get the red book from the 3rd shelf, and you said green book from the 3rd shelf. I said red book from the 4th shelf because I'm an idiot. Blue book on the 4th shelf. Pick up the purple book. Get the yellow book from the bottom shelf. Red book on the 2nd shelf. Green book on the 2nd shelf. Get blue book from 4th shelf. Why did we take it? Why did we put it there in the first place? Then we attach it to the bottom shelf. Put the yellow book on the 1st shelf. And behold a man. Hear a voice from the next room. What the fuck? You overplucked my chicken, you fool. Congratulations, you have solved every problem I set forth for you. You shall be my new lab assistant. Unfortunately, there is not a second arc of the game here, so meh. I hereby award you this certificate of achievement for your accomplishments. Hooray! We got an achievement! It really is a modern game. And for the ending sequence, here we are, rewarded with a bit of a jam. So, congratulations, you set out... I missed the message. Achieved the incredible score of 200 points on my little puzzles. I think 200 points is the max. Make a fine lab assistant. Why, together we can... But enough of that. There's work to be done. Let's get to it. First of all, I'd like you to meet two of my friends. Director, designer, lead programmer, and my alter ego. This is it. This is the credits. There's Corey Cole. Yeah, he's the main guy. Esteemed producer, Stuart Mulder. I don't know a whole lot of these people super well, but obviously it's a bunch of dudes from Sierra. Message from Dr. Brain. Yeah. Indeed, Roundy. I love that you arrived for the first puzzle left, then returned for the last. Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. Corey Cole. Yeah. We saw Corey Cole's name in some of the Easter eggs relating to that. So yeah, again, a lot of people did a lot of really good stuff making this look. That dude is named Orpheus Handley, which is like, I'm kind of jealous. You were named Orpheus, dude. Your parents are... That's a name choice, that's for sure. Maybe it's a pseudonym. Although if you're named Orpheus, I think you gotta go with it, like, for your entire life. You can nickname a kid named Orpheus. Orp? Orpheus? Wait, no, that's something different. My favorite part was when he said, "It's orphan time," and he orphed all over those guys. Oh. That almost sounds worse in its own weird way. But yes, this is the end of our adventure. Like I said, I love the look of this game. The sound, well, 90% of the sound, very good. There's a couple of pieces of music that are a little bit but you know, they can't all be zingers. Now I must be off to the sequel hook. Island of Dr. Brain. Ooh. Ooh, ah. I have never played that one, by the way, so I cannot comment on that at all. I think there's a little bit more of the animation here, but yeah, we're just about wrapped, and I think we've seen everything here. Yeah, like, you could learn things from this. Probably more in some areas than others. Like, I think the math section is probably not the most, like, math education, but probably aimed at a little bit of an older set, I guess, who would already have some basic skills, because to be fair, I think even throwing entry-level cryptography at like a 7-year-old is probably going to not necessarily end super well. They could probably pick up some of the logic depending on how good they do in their English classes. Well, asterisk, not anymore, because tragically, I don't think education for youngsters is in great position. There is a teacher in the chat, but he teaches high school English, so while he is kind of doing great work by having the temerity to be a high school English teacher in Texas, you know, I gotta assume that he's doing something good for the world there, basically, because, yeah, that seems like a thing and a place that we need more good men in that position. So, yeah, he's on hard mode. Trying anyway. Well, listen. Trying is certainly good enough in these times because, yeah, everything is absolutely against everyone who's not at the absolute top. So, yeah. Basically, that's about all I've got here. Is I think you're doing good work already as it stands. And yes. But this is a fun game, a lot of nice puzzles to it. It does do at least a little bit of the thing where you don't have to deal with adventure game ridiculous logic, but also, I don't know, I think that's part of the charm of some adventure games. I do like that I've played a couple of adventure games that are much more, like, focused on fairly understandable logic and puzzle solving. You know, like, Myst and Riven are not exactly what you would call moon logic games. Outside of a few places where it's like, oh, I didn't realize I could click on that, but that's a minor thing, really. Which I feel like they don't have the reputation for that outside of people who have actually played them. Anyway, I know that this stream was a bit short today, but I think that's going to do, because 30 minutes isn't quite enough for me to blaze through even novice difficulty to show off to you what those puzzles look like. And it's just generally not quite enough in general, half an hour to do most of the things I'd like to do on stream most of the time. So we're going to cut it a little bit short today, and tomorrow I will wheel out a different adventure game. I don't know, maybe I'll turn into a complete sicko and find Gold Rush.